What is up, y'all? It's your boy Aniki coming at you with another Church of MHA episode. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties of last week, causing for the entire live reaction review to get just, from reality. But at the very least, we're coming at you this week. Chapter reaction. We'll probably discuss last week's chapters a little bit just because, but in general, obviously, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that. But hey, all right, we see Lamar Arrington's back. Hey, Bonzu. Okay. Cold. Nah, not cold. Hey, little cool JT. I'm almost 30 with you. I'm almost in the 30s with you. Let's do this. Cameron Bailey's here. All right, dismissed. Bonzu's not going to stay long. Okay. Tiger Blaster and Austin Morgan. Honestly, I like everybody who shows up in the beginning. Like even if you don't even, hey, Tyler, okay, Andrew, yeah. Hey, Abitrino. Nah. Hey, okay. So since you're requesting a One Piece review, since I'm getting a direct request, maybe I will talk about One Piece this week. I had kind of stopped doing them because it was hurting the channel algorithmically, where since it wasn't getting enough views and the algorithm was kind of tanking other videos too along with it. So then it wasn't really recommending stuff to people and it was causing some issues. But with the request in and with the topic, I'll try to see if I can incorporate a way to make it so that it doesn't hurt the channel, because I do want to be able to do it without having it sabotage all my other videos. That being said, also want to just highlight, got the blanket. Yeah, that official Aniki Smash blanket out here living my best life, courtesy of the lady. So we live in a glorious day. Hey, Atlanta's back. Of course the do-rag is back here. Of course the do-rag is here. Not when Atlanta debuted. I did read the last chapter. It just hasn't been covered. Maybe I'll talk about it a little. So yeah. All right, let's see. We got 20 people up in here. MK the baby flexing the emotes. So, all right. Let me pull up the chapter. We filed in. See, I'm gonna be honest, One Piece is the only series that I don't even bother trying to spoiler dodge anymore. Because if you want to spoiler dodge One Piece, you got to be spoiler dodging from Monday through the whole week. It's just a lot of effort. Just a lot of effort. So yeah, let me hop on to this chapter real quick. Chapter 340. Okay, so yeah, 14 days for My Hero, which gives me these next couple weeks to come up with all kinds of different content. We hop right into the chapter, opening it up with the explosive duo on the color page. Let's see. Honestly, One Piece being divisive, I'm not surprised. It usually is, mostly because a lot of people, how do I put this gently? One Piece has always been a series that prioritized like having comedy and goofiness within it. In turn, that makes a battle and a situation like the current one not exactly what people are always going for their war climax. When you get these Toon Force physics being slapped into a manga, it can be a little jarring, especially when, as far as most people's concern or interaction with the medium, is a lot more rigid. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. In fact, I would say that a lot of the Toon Force aspects of this have been in place since, I would say, Gear 3. And even if you think about like Gear 2 being just steaming mad, that's all classic Tom and Jerry stuff. So that's just stuff. Hey, Chuny, you better let me know if you're trying to pull up for church. Because if you're trying to pull up for church, you'll get that link. So, all right, hopping into the chapter, though, we have 30 people. I can do it. Don't need to feel bad. Color page looking nice. Title of the page is the chapter is Battle Flame. We going. All right, immediately. Deku is flying. I'm using both the 7th float and the 3rd Sfajin. Yep, cranking up those Fajin boosts based on the position of his hands. It looks like he's using Air Force to help propel himself further. Let's see. Yep. Hey, okay, so check. Man, look at this. All right, so just for the people who have followed me throughout the course, because I know some people don't watch the solo reviews plus the streams, or some only watch the live reaction portion. I do want to point out that one of the things that I've talked about extensively throughout the time that the church has been in and Fajin has been introduced is the idea of Deku purposely flexing his fingers and using that for propulsion as he's floating to fly for a consistent thrusting boost. Thank God that this basic application is actually being utilized within the story. It only bugs me when characters break or don't utilize their powers in the most strategic way. So Air Force pushes me forward and helps me keep balance, but I'm too slow. But in these open waters, there's nothing for me to grab a hold of with the fifth black whip. Full 100% would do the trick, but faster. I gotta get there faster. And remember, I was talking about this too with the speed that we know of from Kamino. Like, is definitely not. Okay, wait. Faster. I got to get there faster. Don't lose your head. It's clouding your judgment. Finally, having the second user really talking. Those reinforcement parts can't withstand one for all at 100% power, right? Are you planning on getting hurt before reaching the battlefield? No. Or did you attempt to use my meta ability? Yeah. I thought I told you that was meant to be your last resort. As one for all grew in strength, so too did all of our meta abilities within it. As a result, mine evolved into a particularly unique power. It's not something that can be wielded the usual way, as I once did. Don't fall into desperation. This is a battle for the very future, yes? Have faith in your friends. They're all out there for their own reasons. Knowing that should allow you to focus your energy on your own battlefield. What I like about the second user is that he is staying consistent. He is staying consistent with the value of having allies, making it a point to emphasize, because back when we were going through, and this, what I also like about this is that if you recall, one of the things we talked about was Deku not having access to the second user's quirk when you saw the room and everybody else wasn't seated. And the thing that he said he needed most was allies that will match his pace. It is when Deku embraces his role as a leader, something that the second user had to do during his time, that we finally see him accepting of Deku. If Deku's going to play the role of the savior, he needs to play it to the T. He needs to be focused on his teammates. He needs to have trust in them, confidence in their abilities. Because if you're going to be a leader of a platoon, you have to trust your soldiers to do their job. It is only, which means that of all the heroes and all the people whose quirks he's accessed, the one who really wanted to make sure that he had the ability to make that discernment and that judgment is the second user. And now that we see that the reason he wanted that establishment to understand and to establish that Deku has this understanding of what he needs to be doing and how he needs to be prioritizing and feeling about the people surrounding him, it's because of how dangerous his quirk is. If he cannot see the value of other people and the stuff around him, then this dangerous quirk can become even more of an issue. So, yep, loving that. Yep, that's what I'm thinking too. I'm thinking it has to be something like a cannon, or like one of the things that I kind of like the idea of is if his quirk had been like a sword, but specifically like a Mega Man, like X or a Zero type sword, but I don't think that's what we're getting here. Let's see. All right. And then, all right, let me get back into chapters. I just wanted to talk about that real quick, just because it's this character consistency that I just wanted to highlight. Now, he's gone. Good. I don't think Midoriya could have ignored Toga for long. I can't stand the thought of a secret my friend holds dear being revealed like that. All right. So this lets us know that there's a good chance that at some point, Ochako and Sue have actually addressed the fact that Ochako does have feelings for Deku. And that also means that that dropkick was especially motivated to protect the homie, which I gotta respect. Sue learned how to keep the lips sealed, knowing what it means to keep it shut, keep it locked. Don't ruin that for them. I've had enough. Izuku, Ochako, Suyu. I love you all, but I'm done. I'm ready to be who I want to be. All I want is to live the way that feels right to me. Right, Jin? Uh-oh. I'm Himiko Toga, and I've got no use for heroes, so get ready to say bye-bye. I like the idea of her like making that promise twice as she like ponders using the blood, and specifically as that callback to My Villain Academia, back when Twice was like, you know, my quirk is double, I would never hurt a friend, and that was made in declaration of protecting Toga, and now she in turn wants to make this same decision to protect Twice's memory and what he stood for. So all around, making sure to keep these things tied together. Don't know how you can't see the threads connecting the story. I'm just saying. Anyway, no thanks. I'm also living the way that's right for me as Ochako Uraraka, which I like Ochako focusing on her actual name instead of her hero identity here, because it's who she is as a person that matters, not just the idea of her being a superhero. So no Uravity emphasis, but instead that. Kanagawa Prefecture, Kamino Ward. There are already so few heroes left, and we're losing more by the minute. Ground zero. Let's see, we've got a Nomu and a raging sea of fire, which you got the flames coming over skyscrapers here. So definitely got some infrastructure falling, crumbling. Love to see it. This is really bringing back memories, even if it wasn't that long ago. Seeing that battle in Hosu spurred me to take action, you know? Wait. Hosu City is where they were when Shoto and them fought Stain, which means that Dabi's implying that he watched that battle go down. All right. Shoto. All right, Ida moving around, trying to guard his buddy. The sheer heat, it's extraordinary. I can't get any closer, lest it ruin my engines. Whoops, sorry. Just yapping away to myself again. Once again, he won't pay me any attention. It really bums me out that all I get is his third son and his 3 merry helpers. Is that really his answer to me? Which I like the dramataz, like the gravitas of all this dramaticness that Dabi's doing, from the leaning against the statue, holding it, to the getting up and flying up just to survey things, all these grand flourishes, really putting on a production. Dabi loves his shows. So you keep back, Kido. Your body's got no way to withstand this heat. Endeavor sidekicks Kido and Onima. I'm good, you know. I can alter the trajectory of anything, so I've just got to make all the hot air swerve around me. Nothing new for me. That level of quirk mastery, though. That level of quirk mastery, which it's funny enough because that reminds me of Avatar: The Last Airbender, where if you can recall during, not Avatar: The Last Airbender, sorry, it's technically during Legend of Korra, and I believe it's around season 3 that this happens, when Tenzin is taking the airbenders out early in the morning and they're complaining about how cold it is. And he's like, a real airbender can control the flow of the air so that he stays warm even in cold air just by so we get the air manipulation here. So that's just something, small detail that I wanted to bring up. Another good thing about Legend of Korra, because you know I will defend that franchise. Ooh, sorry, Joseph Ciola came through with the super chat and I missed that. Until the second user gets a name, I decided to call him Chekhov because we're all waiting on Chekhov's gun. I like that. All right, let's see some of these guesses real quick. Lasers, Deku Blaster, levels the entire Flying UA Fortress. The Flying UA Fortress is going to come down. I've said it in reviews. I've said it on streams. I'll say it again. The UA Fortress is not going to last, specifically because it is meant to mirror the 2020 Olympics collapsed stadium from Akira. So we're getting the same thing here. Yep. So let's see. If I had to guess, Deku will pull out the second user's quirk when the awful one makes his way to him. Would it be more significant to have the quirk of the man who destroyed his plans come back to bite him? Yep, this is like the beginning of a Tekken fight. What if like a power-up zone where his allies get boosted with one for all and loses one for all during the time? Surround yourself with allies. Deku. So one of the things that I kind of thought about is how we haven't really seen a lot of Deku mixing quirks yet, like applying all this extra stuff. But, and yes, new camera angle. I'm glad you noticed. Did you notice my special One Piece bowl for ramen that comes with its own One Piece chopsticks? Anyway, but yeah, so ain't there a spiking dude in Vigilance? I hope that guy, my guy, yeah, ooh, yeah, good point. One of the things that I thought about was that if Deku can eventually apply quirks, and he could, in theory, apply the mechanics of the energy used to reinforce himself to the smoke of One for All, which in turn you could argue would allow him to put that energy into the smoke, which then if inhaled would allow that person to be infused with some of One for All's energy. But that would be a pretty convoluted thing, and that would maybe be what the second user's quirk is going to be about, and that would allow it to be a bit more balanced. So yeah, keep a cool head and go about it logically. We're finally seeing some of Keto's face. That's how I've done it for a whole decade, just like always. I'm here to follow our main man's orders because I want to. His family drama may be a can of worms, but Endeavor shows up and gets the job done, even if he does stink like an old fart, and that includes today. It's important to note that Vernon, when she joined Endeavor's agency, did not actually like him that much. This is a respect that's born out of working under and seeing him in action, not something that she had inherently worked when she signed up to work for Endeavor. And now he's handed off us 3 junior stinkers to you. So you got our full support, kid. Thanks for that, Vernon. No thanks needed. Save your energy. Toya, Dabi, you've got it all wrong. I'm not here on anyone's orders. I'm standing here now because I made the decision to stop you. Stellar job being the perfect little pawn Dad always dreamed of. If I ignored you and kept trying to be a hero anyway, that just might be true. Hey, fair enough. This war is all about the people involved. It's not the mindless soldiers following orders who are the real movers and shakers. I like this consistency of the movers and shakers phrase coming up because Monoma brought it up before when he was teleporting everybody, declaring himself the mover and the shaker here. This is what happens when everyone's got feelings and urges that start firing off. Some want to change the world they live in. Okay, so we're getting to see Spinner. We don't know where he is yet, but first off, Spinner's drooling a little. Second off, he's a lot more muscular than I recall. Third off, looks like we're resurrecting the multi-blade blade. Let's see. And fourth off, we still don't know where he is. So yeah, all around. Interesting turns here. And what I'll be curious about is if it turns out that being a heteromorph inherently makes you more likely to be able to deal with the stress of extra quirks because your body has already evolved more than, say, somebody who has a quirk like Toga or a quirk like Dabi. Let's see. Some want to change the world they live in or destroy the warp imbalance that's built up over time that we all just came to accept. And it's important to note that Spinner and Shigaraki haven't had that speech bubbles layered over each other, whereas the change one is layered over Toga and Spinner, because Spinner is fine with destroying everything now that he's been working under Shigaraki, which part of why he was, that might be that pawn emphasis, but also he did much prefer the idea of the world becoming better and holding people more accountable. That motivation was caused by staying. So you kind of see that why both of these different philosophies overlap onto the character of Spinner. Now, behold the limitations of a superpowered society. That's me. That's all of us. You survived back then, so why didn't you come home? You really want to know? Fine. Happy to share. Rotten or not, I'm still your big bro. Here's a story of how I became Dabi and the reason I'm still alive and kicking to tell, even when I never stopped burning hotter than you, his masterpiece. So first off, I'm going to say that the fact that there's a little leftover line work, like this sketch lines, even within his nose, you can kind of see where like the base formation of his face was made, and then so where a little bit of the sketch line got through. But there is a small upside to this. It sells the image even more. Cause like, holy shit, dude. Like, look at this. Like, let's be real here for a second. If you don't have your phone up, you don't have Viz pulled up real quick, pull it up, go to page 15, look at the last page, and tell me that the sketchy aspect of this doesn't actually just add in a little extra, little seasoning, little spice of body horror to this. The cracked teeth. Like, if there was ever a panel to leave slightly unfinished, this panel of Dabi's face melting off his cheek so that his mandible muscles are what's exposed and his teeth are cracking and the gum line is getting exposed. This is the panel to have that go wrong. Like, the perfect panel to actually have something like this happen. Like, it just works. And I love that for us. I love that. Let me get the bishops in here real quick. I don't know who's all coming through today, but let me get them in here. Let me lob those links real quick. Man, oh man. I wish y'all understand, because genuinely that puts a smile on my face, the way that this was done. All right, boom. That bishops. And what I like about this is that Chuni was in this stream, and if you look back at the thread that I posted in response to his last Sunday I Asked You, and he ended up talking about this in the video on Shoto and Dabi and how that was supposed to go down. I mentioned how we need to finally get the origin of Dabi. What was Dabi doing in this gap year? What was he doing while he was gone? When we didn't see what he was up to? Like, so it's like, I don't know what else to tell you on that one, but that, let me lob this. Is that Archbishop Easton here already?
Popping from the left field. How you niggas feel? Let's get it popping. You know what time it is. It's undefeated on the East, baby. What it do? Woo! And man, are we blazing? No pun intended.
Hey, so look, gotta ask, how did you feel just in general? Because like I'm positive, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is another one of those chapters where the scans had some weird knee-jerk reactions. Because like I feel like anytime the plot is especially important, somebody decides to fuck up the scans.
From what I know, nobody was actually tripping too much. I'm like, contrary to our counterparts on the One Piece side of fandom, I didn't see anybody tripping. You know, you can ask Tarnish because he be there with the leak niggas and shit like that. But as far as scans, not that I know, nobody was bugging out or tripping. I don't think there was, you know, there usually is nothing to bug out over, but you know how these niggas be. But as far as I know, there was nothing. I think some people were making fun like Burners like dialogue a little bit. It's because like, you know, what she had said was a little different in the scans, just about like Endeavor shit like that. You know, there's cracking jokes about, you know, Endeavor was piping burning, but that, you know, that's just some little funny jokes. But other than that, I didn't hear anything too wild, too crazy.
Also, I just want to point out that LL Cool JT, you can't make fun of Dabi for sitting around listening to Linkin Park's Crawling when that's what we used to do.
Yeah, bro, you can't judge that nigga. He did the same thing. That nigga, like, I'm like, what? He like 23 now? Like,
no, I'm saying specifically. I know I know for a fact LL Cool JT, he used to listen to Linkin Park.
Oh God,
we used to listen to Linkin Park while we're gaming. Shoot,
but what? Tell them niggas for real.
So
listen to Call of Duty, playing a Call of Duty cutscenes with that shit.
Hey, if we finally get the Phoenix Fire reveal, I'm down with that, because to me, Dabi's quirk can't be cremation because he went by the term cremation. Yes, that could just be his quirk, and yes, Horikoshi did play the plain sight thing, but
when that shit get funny, that shit get revealed next chapter is like by the end of the backstory, that nigga like he dropped that bitch. I don't know if it's gonna be a 2-parter or what, because he do have enough shit to go through, like, because it would be like this. The first section would be that would take a couple pages to explain what happened right after. Then, like, you know, then during that phase, like, well, he was like 13 when it happened. So what happened right after that first time? Then a couple years after that, Then by the time he is what took him action to take action to league years later. So if he wanted to do a 2-parter on top of it, he really could and add extra spice.
Honestly, bro, he got 10 years worth of content sitting right there.
Like that ass, like I don't know how hard he gonna do Dabi 1, 2, 3, 4. Like the more he give him, the more ammo y'all got for
Well, I'll take a 3-parter.
I'm good with whatever. All I know is when that quirk get revealed, it's gonna be a last page thing before he come back on that shit.
So my stance on this too, though, with like, is that we could obviously like my stance on this will always be this: if MHA is really gonna end like with this section of the story, then I don't expect it to end before 2023. Like, is there a way that could tie up a lot of stuff quickly? Sure, but I don't see that happening. And especially with this focus on Dabi, I kind of expect us to get 2 more random chapters dropped here and there, titled "The Story of How We All Became Heroes, Part -2, Part -3." I kind of think that stuff has to be coming into play. And if Dabi is going to get a thorough backstory, and we're going to really find out what he was doing in his teenage years and what he was doing during the Hosu City incident and where he was living at the time, etc., then I can't see that. Like, it could all happen in one chapter, but I just kind of expect it to be a bit more than that.
But I mean, listen, at this point, I'm not even discussing whether it's in or not, debating. I got my stance. I'm not moving. Mega, I don't know what Mega's talking about. Like, this is shit we've been waiting on for, I don't know, God knows how long. So I don't know what's the point of saying he rushing now when how long have we been waiting on this shit? Since the 60s? Since like what, 190 when he was like, he pulled up on Endeavor.
If he wanted to, if he was really rushing, he would have shoved Dabi's backstory into the wrong way to put out.
Like, yeah, the wrong way to put out a fire would have just covered everything.
Like he literally could they literally said, all right, let's switch it, and then be like, because that's what we thought too originally. I remember that. Well, majority of us thought that we were gonna get Dabi's side of the story because he was kind of talking at the same time as Endeavor and them low key. And so we thought, okay, we're gonna get his portion of that shit. Then it was like, all right, well, we need to ask the man himself, what the fuck? How did he become Dabi himself? And we've been waiting on this since 304. Now we getting it. Now we rush. I don't know. Anyway. I'm not discussing that no more. I got my stance. I'm not changing. I'm not trying to change nobody else's mind. At the end of the day, the fat lady gonna sing. I mean, so the fat lady gonna sing. What I can say all I want, I can provide evidence that he gonna have to just pull some shit out his ass to make and rush everything to make it fit when that's never been Horikoshi's game. But y'all gonna feel the way y'all feel. We gonna feel the way we feel. That's just gonna be the end of it until the fat lady sing. So in the meantime, let's discuss what we got because no way.
Can we talk about these panels? These panels of Dabi?
Hold on, before we get there, because Dabi's a highlight, and he's gonna be the highlight next week. Let's talk about my boy Chekhov. Shout out to Joseph Ciola, one of our great and OG members. Man, listen, Chekhov, aka the second user. Nah, you see that nigga really built different. And this his quirk. I'm not saying it's an offensive quirk at this point. There's no more support.
No ifs, ands, or buts. It's offensive.
After that Star and Stripes fight, it's like, bro, we don't need no more support quirks. Them air blasts not gonna be, even if they got a boost. Them air blasts not gonna be the boo, bro. I'm trying to say.
Air Force ain't cutting it.
After that nigga was taking a fucking giant laser spear and was like, yeah, this is just a stun lock. They ain't really doing shit. Nigga survived a nuke. Not even, it don't gotta be head on, nigga, but you survive a nuke fucking 10 feet away and just get back up.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm scared of this quirk, bro. I was really waiting for this to get confirmed. He really said that it's the strongest quirk. It's been in there the longest. It's been cooking. It's been cooking in there.
That's my thing, right? Is that it's easy to forget that technically the stockpiling quirk wasn't the original one for all users quirk, which also means that, which I don't think this has ever really been talked about or thought of or discussed a lot. You realize that means that if dude had passed this quirk on to somebody else, it still would have copied and it latched itself onto that person's quirk, right?
Like,
But it's the stockpiling of energy that allows for the quirk to be stabilized. Because I think that's the other trick is that power also allows for it to be stable enough to run and be infused into a person's body. His quirk might be a special being can, but we know it has to be some form of blast or enhanced damage or something that can help him move faster. So hell, it could be something as simple as him getting access to an o'clock style quirk. But whatever the case it's something that would have helped him get there faster.
that nigga was fat. That's in there. Once again, that nigga had not learned his lesson.
Yo. Y'all know, like in early Dragon Ball, one of Goku's early tournaments where he used the Kamehameha to headbutt somebody.
Bro,
Like,
I was thinking about that shit, bro.
I'm thinking it was going to be something like that. Deku was trying to do this chapter.
Yep. That's where I'm at too. And that's why, like I said, I was just glad that we were finally getting him actually using Air Force like this. I still think that, like, and it's obvious that he's using Air Force based Fajin Blast. So I'm glad about that too, but we need him to maybe do a little stomp or something like that to help him out. But as long as he's over these open waters, which I think is kind of funny because it's also like kind of parallels how Endeavor and them were all racing to get to Star and Strike.
I said that on VC. I was like, yo, if Deku was there, he'd have made it. He would have been there in time.
Let's see. Talk about the mask. Did you discuss something about the mask?
There's a glimpse of the mask on the first page of the chapter when he's saying that I'm using both the Seventh Float and Fajin. There's a little glimpse of the broken mask from Deku Black that All Might had picked up.
Oh yeah, you can see a little bit in that first page, but then it almost looks like it's gone when you can actually see down his scarf on page.
Yeah, right? I seen that too. 4, right?
Yeah. Page 4, the mask isn't there, so it kind of seems like it's a thing that might have just been Horikoshi like being so used to throwing these details in that he started to do it and then was like, oh yeah, it doesn't actually go there, and just didn't take it out because which actually no. All right, so this is weird because if you look
on page 5
the upper one on page 5, it looks like he's got it. But then if you look at the second panel on page 5, it looks like he doesn't have it. So I'm starting to think the mask is supposed to be there, and it's one of the things that didn't get completed, just like how the Dabi thing, but it was able to.
The chapter is unfinished, so we gotta remember that.
Yeah, he was able to more easily just kind of like skate by that though, like without it being as big of a deal.
Speaking of masks, though, Toga's mask looks fire this chapter.
Oh God, they really amped this motherfucker up.
And I'm loving her Dr. Octopus, whatever those things are going on that she got. I don't know how Ochako's gonna fight her low key. Any idea?
Nah, I got no clue because
the only thing I got, you already know what I got. The only thing I got is that if she uses Sadman's Parade, Ochako can kill those clones the same way Toga killed Curious.
But at the same time, there's a difference because Toga can move way better than Ochako. That's for a fact. That's not even up for debate. She can move like nobody fucking business. Dead ass. So it's like the way she be finessing coming through moving, Ochako ain't got like that. And also it's like, all right, she ain't gonna just be pulling up no scrubs. She would either clone herself or she be cloning members of the league. One of the two don't make a difference. Because one Toga,
if she clones members of the league, man, wrap that battlefield up. Because if there's like
Deku wasn't like Tom pinning her down with his danger sense because that shit wasn't working. So you knowing that you can't even, so she don't even know, like he knows he was going to attack and he couldn't even like predict it because danger sense was working with his danger sense. So imagine if you don't even have danger sense. She literally, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. She literally got her ass stabbed in the back, and it wasn't for Suyu and Deku. She been bodied on the floor right now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that because Deku and Suyu literally pulled Toga away.
Was on it. Deku was right there saving her.
Literally, they pulled her fucking back and kicked her ass. Like she had her knife in that bitch back. Like
that's because Toga support item has gotten some serious upgrades, and actually
serious upgrades
in the deleted video. One of the things that I made it a point to kind of talk about is how different and how much more focused that her combat style has become, and utilizing her support course items. And also, like, they didn't used to have the thrusters on the back, but this is kind of like how I like, because I know Tarnish saw it, at least the tweet about Dabi and how between the wrong way to put out a fire and now he's erased more skin because he actually does train.
He's dying.
And the same thing is happening with Toga here, where she's been training with this support item, but it's also worth noting that she got that support item, the prototype, all the way back in August. And now we're back at May. So it's been like 9 months she's had this thing to practice, get better with, and like develop her own fighting style, similar to how Aizawa does. But what I also thought was kind of funny is how the Black Whip and cords that Ochako used made them more similar to Toga, who was trying to become like them. And only for them to now have that complete rejection. So it'll come down to, and even this upgrade to her costume, you could argue, is a modification inspired by her fight with Ochako, where she got stuck being hit with the 0 satellites. So once Ochako gets some rubble or something that she can also wield around, and I think the battlefield kind of evens out and gets back more to being about hand-to-hand combat and less about having to dodge a bunch of different flails and whips and stuff.
That's what they needed. They need to throw some real hands so people can put some respect on their names. But nobody ever really disrespect Toga like that, really. But Ochako shit, yeah, they know what. Yeah, they know what Toga about. But let me address a few things in the comment section real quick. No, Spinner was not there when everybody got warped. Another thing I need to address is, yeah, Joseph, Toga vanished while Curious and in a group where at least 8 MLA soldiers were standing 5 feet in front of her. Like, nigga, the water passed over her while she was talking. It wasn't a giant wave, like it was a little puddle splashed over her while she was talking. She fucking vanished in thin air and popped up on these niggas. Started like trying to cut Deku. And then popped up on Ochako again, like, nigga, that bitch is a fucking ninja. I don't know why niggas be like, oh, go ahead, martial art, this, that, and other. Nigga. She a fucking ninja. She keep vanishing. They be having trouble with her. Like, she don't need, and then the Nomos in the background keep fucking shaking up the entire battlefield so she can get covered.
Two Nomu, bro. Kamino got 1 Nomu that's setting it off.
Also,
over there.
The Kamino Nomu is so manageable in comparison, it feels like. Because I feel like at any point, if Shoto, like if they just stall for even like if they can buy like 5 seconds for Shoto to freeze that nigga, he can just cook the brain and be done.
Like,
that's not the case here.
1 Nomu setting it off. Nah, and I'm not even gonna lie, the Nomu on the waterfront, he's going crazy because he's like throwing himself everywhere.
Hey, Dan, I told y'all niggas before, I said, why is this nigga sitting down like this?
He's saying it all.
I was like, I told y'all, bro. I told y'all. People like, yo, why he gassed up this Nomu? What's up with you and this Nomu? I'm like, bro, why is this nigga sitting on the floor? Like, it'd be different if the heroes got it's different on the hero side because they knew who was going and where for the most part, the main hitters. These niggas just got thrown wherever. The villains got thrown wherever, and they had to like regain their reins or whatever. This nigga got thrown wherever, just chilling in the water, like, all right, bro. Y'all want that smoke?
Well, that's the thing, though, is that the other one of the Nomu here is straight up floating. Like, dog got his head way up in the sky and is just shooting pieces of his body repeatedly.
And man, it's fucking up the entire battlefield, stomping that bitch down.
It's like nobody can actually access him. It's like
no, who's touching that Nomu there? I don't know who's touching that Nomu.
It's like you have a main boss, and then you have like a mini boss on the side attacking you because you got Moonfish and other convicts right there. They said, listen, downplay him if you want to. Gang Orca said, yo, listen, we still got these niggas to fight. Don't get it twisted.
But we know one of them personally.
Yeah, because when you go back to 347, like you can see there's the big ass Nomu that's just straight up walking through shit, and then the dude that's up top just spamming body parts. like doing what Tokage wishes she could do with her quirk.
Oh
No
God.
cap.
So let me address Alves. What was it? Toga she needs measurements, but why wouldn't she have measurements of the league of twice that measurements? You know, they can really just prep and be like, okay, this height.
All she needs is one twice, and then twice got the measurements on his costume.
Exactly, and she would know twice his height. So it's like there's a point to like the sad man's parade still continuing. No matter which way you spin it, it's a fucking army of clones. Like, no matter which way you try to spin it or whatever, she would have twice his height measurement or whatever. And all you gotta do is, okay, bada bing, bada boom. And from there, that's over with.
Wait, remember also that Twice said it like the clones get created faster from him because he knows him better than anybody. So if Toga was to become him, then it should be automatic. Like, oh, clone of myself. And right now I'm Jin. Like, it wouldn't be that hard to me.
Now answer another question. Well, answer something else from the chat. Cameron Bailey said, by the way, this chapter debunked that Deku is now faster than Ida and Hawks. I think it more so supports the theory that he may be faster than them, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Now he fast as shit though. I ain't seen Hawks, nor I seen Ida match. Why ain't see Hawks match a thing like that?
Hawks not going that fast.
Yeah. Now all I got is Ida, but at the same time, I don't know, man. He be trailing behind Deku. They can have a conversation, but
if y'all want to play that game, Deku not even going all out. He literally said he's not using 400%. He's using 5 Jin, but that don't automatically mean 400%.
Yeah. See, like I was saying before, I was like, before 5 Jin got introduced like that, I was like, Deku ain't knocking off Ida until he get like 75%. But you know, I knew he was gonna be the biggest and baddest nigga around. Of course, he's gonna be the fastest, or whatever. But 5 Jin is basically Suedo 100%. So it kind of like negates what I said because he got more speed because he got an extra boost in his power. Now to address some more shit in the chat. I also want to talk about. I wanted to address on real quick with this thing because y'all keep bringing it up, and I don't know why y'all don't really bring up. This is my thing. Y'all don't really bring up things from like y'all talk about the old MHA. Remember this time we talked about this? People bring up the old MHA and how they miss it, but they don't really bring up. Whenever they talk, they never reminisce about good moments in the past. Like even before the previous war or whatever. Nobody ever, they talk about they missed the old MHA, but people really talk about old events like that. Like I can't remember last time I seen somebody really talk about Forest Camp besides me and Coyote talk about Moonfish.
Shit, I was just thinking about Forest Camp when I was looking at some of these Dabi panels.
Yeah, so I'm just like, y'all kind of talk about it, but y'all already talk about it. It's like, oh, I missed this, I missed the old one, but it's just like at the same time, it's like y'all never really talk about anything of substance from the old. You just kind of reference it and not even a main point in it. That's the kind of thing they be kind of, but you know, I disagree with you, Mega. I don't know. Deku Far From Home was too short. The shit was like 15, 16 chapters.
It was 20 chapters.
Yeah. Look, that's like that's one of the longer lengths of an arc in MHA.
Okay, so one of the things that I'll say about that's part of why during the chapters segment when I was reading it, I was like, yep, plot threads definitely not being tied together at all. Because I've seen people say that before, and I'm like, how can you say that about current MHA not tying its plot threads together when almost every live reaction I've done, I end up having to talk about something being tied to something from the past. From the second user's dialogue to one. Okay, so this is something that I was going to bring up, but I didn't get the chance to because of that video getting deleted. But how many of you remember that old color page of the Big Six?
I remember that one. It was what was it? Fighting on Fate, or wasn't it Fighting on Fate for that chapter? Or
wasn't that from one of like the overhaul art covers? I think.
No, it was even before that, I believe, right?
I don't remember exactly when that color page came out, but that's the most important. You know what the important thing about that color page is? The 6 people on it and their positions in relation to each other. Because if you pull that color page up, And the way if you don't want to try to find it in a chapter, just type in Deku, Ida, Bakugo, Ochako, Su, Shoto, and go into images. It will eventually pop up. Yeah. But if you look at it, every character is parallel to the person who is paired with them at their sites now. So Deku and Bakugo are center, and it either goes like it's Deku and Bakugo in the center as the two center ones. Then you go either Ida and Shoto or Ochako and Su, then Ida and Shoto, then Ochako and Su, which lets you know that these three pairs were set from back then.
Now, Ochako Suyu versus Toga was set up since the camp.
Exactly.
Like,
it's just not appreciated, I tell you, bro.
Yeah, people have been hating on Suyu being involved in this fight. I don't know why. Like, she didn't start.
And in addition to that, one of the things that Su has been stated to be really good at is keeping her allies grounded, which when you think about how Ochako wanted to save Toga going into this interaction, how Ochako didn't figure out that Toga was in love with her until what she said to Deku. Ochako's going to be needing to have that grounding to keep her focused. In addition to that, when you think about the fact that part of the reason Su was able to respond and tell Deku to hurry up and leave was because she was trying to protect Ochako's secret, because what she's talking about there in Dot is basically them confirming that off screen, Su has found out that Ochako does have feelings for Deku.
I mean, because she's very perceptive in the first place and straightforward. And then it's like, it's not like it's any secret to even Mina and them can all fucking tell that shit. They just be like, all it takes is looking at them and be like, oh, she has a crush.
They all know.
It's like a son of a parent. And I bet you niggas. I
wouldn't be surprised if Ida.
It's like I thought it was quite obvious. I thought shit. So I wouldn't be surprised if niggas had like an issue, like, oh, I can't believe they was off screen. They had a conversation about this. Essentially, I'm like,
well, you want to know the other funny thing about this though, is each person who is like the point has somebody there that is particularly perceptive about their personality. Bakugo is the person who straight up has directly stated that Deku is self-destructive, does not take his own safety into account, blah, blah, blah. He's paired with Deku. Su is understanding of Ochako's secret. She is paired with Ochako. Ida is the only person who can properly read Shoto's facial expressions from what we've seen out of the class. He is with Shoto. You see how this works?
Bakugo told Endeavor to his face, you don't know shit about Deku. It was wrong.
So we've got this consistency going. And part of the whole, Tabufu, exactly. It's rushing when it ties plots in, but it also doesn't tie any plots together, and the story has no setup anymore or anything like that. I don't know. And Mega Karibo, the thing about Deku's flaws is that they weren't actually resolved.
That's what I'm saying. Like literally, right after the arc,
because even think about what happened in this chapter. The second user was like, "Dude, do not do that. Like, you're about to damage yourself before you even get to the battlefield. You're not relying on your allies. You're not trusting people." He is still seeing himself as the only one who can or should be handling this.
Nah, that's the thing that bugs me about that. Like, it was all his flaws were washed away. It's like y'all really took that rest chapter and the washing shit a little too literal, bro. Like, nigga, soon as he pulled up, nigga tried to leave again instantly after his friends just stuck up for him. Then again, nigga was like, all right, nigga. Then again, they was out there training, honing their shit. Once again, on the panel, if you really read, it was just like, I'm gonna go back out there and do recon. Then either smack that nigga on his head, said, we gonna go do recon, nigga. Like, again and time again, he keep going out there to try to do the shit himself.
He find out Ayama the traitor. You can still be a hero. Yeah, get out of here with that shit.
Exactly. And then Tsukuichi was like, nigga, what? He was like, nigga, what's your plan? I don't really got a plan, but I'm just saying that. Like, no, as I was like, yeah, I figured you didn't have shit. All right, listen, all right, I got the idea. The reason they had the entire plan, once again, the reason they've really been saved right now is not because of Deku. It's because of Aizawa. Because Tsukuichi's gonna let that nigga go. Deku ain't got no clout or no pool to really like, Ayama's my friend, and we're gonna take him back. And this time, like, no, Tsukuichi's like, yeah, nigga, his hands tied up and all that friendship shit. It ain't here. We don't know. We don't do all that. Aizawa was the one that came with their plan. So once again, Deku was showing me that like he watched with all his flaws and it's that and the other. It just showed like, okay, there's a different approach than what you're trying to do, bro. Nigga, in this chapter, once again, recklessly trying to get out this bitch and do some stupid shit just to speed up. Like it's
imagine if he did use that shit.
it's like, think about it. You like they literally told you this shit is beyond our control right now. It's a last resort. They told you up front. Like, come on now.
I'm glad we got the confirmation that he already had access to it. I was like, nah, he should definitely have that quirk, like no knowledge of it at least by now.
Well,
like
that's what I like about this too, is that it establishes that the second user, one, he didn't flake on his words. He accepted Deku under the conditions that he set. And yeah, Deku could have done that thing that somebody did on my tweet where he could have just kicked Toga to the moon if he would have really thought about it. But Deku wasn't going to prioritize doing that, and it wasn't even taking time to do that. At that point, he might as well just beat everybody's ass at that location.
I mean, so, and that again, once again, like I understand he could have did that shit right there, but then besides narrative points, that's Ochiko's villain. At the same,
not besides narrative point, honestly, on that one, because like that is Deku just one shot in Toga, and that's the end of the whole conflict. Niggas would have trashed that if that's what happened.
But on another note, it's like, okay, within the story, he literally talked to Ochiko about Toga right the day before this shit happened. Or like, like the day before, he was just like, all right, there's something wrong. We need to change our approach at this and the other. Like, he literally did that shit to Muscular too. He tried to ask a nigga, yo, why are you doing this? What's good with you? So Toga pulled, he was already discombobulated because he got pulled off from where he was supposed to be. So he already worried about everybody else. Now he all discombobulated. She snatched the nigga up and now he like, why the fuck ain't my danger sense working? What the fuck? And she's just trying to ask questions. So this nigga mind is scrambled all over the place. It's just like when the villains got pulled up in the first war. The niggas got caught like all fucking guard, like, yo, what the fuck? Like, I'm not supposed to be on this battlefield. And they're like, all right, nigga, you in your own. Get your own way back here.
So I want Inasa to come back specifically, but I've also accepted that Inasa's role in the story might have just been being a lampshade for Dabi. The main narrative purpose of the introduction of Inasa during provisional license arc was to remind us or let us know in advance that one of the main conflicts of this arc was going to be misplaced anger at Endeavor, causing people to lash out at others that have nothing to do with the conflict. And we already got that payoff with Dabi's flames burning half the country as he rode across the back of Makia, because he was just casually tossing out fire blasts for fun. So
my Psycho King. But all right, before we get back to the King, because I want to talk about him too. Let's just let me just address another thing that Mega curious before about the Muriel fumble. Listen, honestly, bro, he had set up to come back. They already told you what was happening. He set up the Eerie stuff. The most you could have really gotten more out of Muriel is two things. You could have got 3 extra pages of Eerie reversing this nigga and giving him his quirk back, and him boxing out of Nomu. That's really all y'all could have got. And that's what y'all consider missing, to consider the fumble. I don't know, because I seen more shows come back, a nigga just went missing and just to come back, or he got injured to come back. Because I don't recall anybody blowing the fuse that Rock Lee came back to say Gar against Kimura. I mean, I don't with the drunken fist. I was rereading that last arc. Then they literally just like, all right, he got gassed up to go get the surgery. Never heard from that nigga. Then he did pull up all of a sudden. Drunken fist style, like saving Gar and shit. Like, I guess, he's gonna let that slide. It's gas. It's not that big of a deal. Like, which I wanted to see the whole surgery, and then him just be like, all right. And then I don't know. Oh, my fault. One quick thing. Mega, I don't know why y'all really down. I don't know if it's the slender thing in MHA or what, but if you don't get a W, a decisive W, niggas downplay everything you ever do. Like, Muriel came in and saved everybody's life there. Because if had them normal got on Genus, it would have been a wrap for everybody there. And then he was boxing with the normal later on. He just said, I can't take all 3 of these niggas out. Like, What y'all holding this nigga for, bro?
And that's kind of one of the things that confuses me too, is that it feels like people want Mirio to, like, they want to know where Mirio is so that he can't surprise them. This is one of the things that's throwing me off, is it feels like people don't want any surprises in MHA, while simultaneously not wanting it to be hyper predictable. Like it's weird. I can't figure out which thing that they're actually against, because it seems like if MHA doesn't do something that they saw coming, but in a way that it's weird. It's so weird to me. I can't figure out what people are actually after anymore with the story, because they'll be like, "Oh,
I don't know what the community has become, honestly."
Hold on, Marshall. Actually, I think you're right. Matter of fact, I do believe Rock Lee's surgery was the same day as the mission.
yeah."
So a surgery that was make or break, that they had no idea whether it was going to really pull through or not, and this nigga just pulled back up fighting. Okay, nah, you just prove my point. That's all I'm saying. It's just like, all right, cool. We're gonna keep pushing though. Anyway.
Yeah, that's one of the things that always threw me off too, because it's like, that's not like something that's ever tripped people up, and I'm trying to figure out why things have to. It's whatever. But Mr. Andrew, my man Twice is gonna roll in his grave when Gunhead Martial Arts takes out Sad Man's Parade.
Hey, Andrew, shut your ass up. I'm about tired of you all fooling around, making jokes and shit.
Here's my stance on it. I kind of, what I would find hilarious is that if during the process of Sad Man's Parade, Ochako started making the clones float and was using 0 satellites to smack people with Twice clones. That's what I'd like to see.
I want to see her go full Toga versus Curious, just drop them from the sky, then they just turn the mud.
Like, I want to see Ochako hit a nigga with another nigga. Because I've slapped my siblings with my siblings before, back when they was little.
No, that's funny.
No, what I really want to see? I really want to see Dabi burn one of Endeavor's sidekicks.
Alive.
That, yeah, okay. I kind of do want to see one of the sidekicks meet some grim fate here.
Listen, man.
If
niggas going out, they got to go out.
I got to bring this up. Like, there was a little bit of slander for Burning, and how she basically says she don't give a fuck about the family drama. But it is what it is.
Okay, so on one hand, I understand why somebody might want Burning to care, because you're like, damn, you don't care that your boss beat his kids. But on the other hand, bro, it's like when people are like, the fact that Endeavor isn't in jail right now is wild to me. And I'm like, really? The fact that the nigga that's the best at whooping ass isn't in jail right now, when the world needs somebody out there to whoop ass, confuses you? That's where it lost you? Because, like, let's be real. Like, the fact that we know that 45 to 50% of police officers hit their wives and half the niggas ain't losing their job, that didn't come out, and we didn't like fire half the police department. So just saying, like, it's kind of clear that like society has always prioritized what they've considered to be the greater good over that kind of stuff.
I like Keto's dialogue in the officials though on page like 12, where he's like, "I'm here to follow Endeavor because I want to," and it's in bold. It's like he just wants to keep working with the dude. I respect it. Like, it is what it is.
So Mega Curie, I would have liked to see more Slice Light too, but that's the wrong one. The shit shifted on my phone. Don't get me wrong at all. I love MHA. There's just a few moments I don't love is all, but I'm excited for this final arc here. Like I said, bro, like, ain't nobody gotta say everything is perfect and jolly good dandy. I like it when niggas just shoot straight with me, like, oh, I would have preferred if this happened, but it didn't. Okay, cool. Or a little bit more of this was in here. Like, a niggas had just been straight up like, oh, I wish Miria had a little bit more panels. And then
what
Niggas
What I
won't go.
want is for people to. What I want is for people to just say it's not in for them no more.
That ass. I was like, all right, bro, just
That's
keep
all I
it,
want.
just shoot straight and keep it a buck. Like that's all I asked for. You shoot straight me, you keep it a buck. I wasn't feeling it. I would have preferred like this. Cool. Niggas go as far as the bash Roy coach and blame him for not doing what they wanted. That's the shit that be bugging me. I'd be like, nigga, all right, bro. Just be like, all right, it's like Turner said, it's not hitting for me, or this didn't hit for me. Cool. Ain't no problem with that. I'm not gonna judge you. But you niggas just like go an extra mile and this, that, and the other. Like, bro, what the fuck?
Also, like, I'm just like looking at some of the comments in here about kind of the and the thing I want to talk about real quick is Cameron Bailey asking, is anyone find it weird that none of the sidekicks reacted to Dabi? Like, he trained him, they should have known him or reacted like you're alive, Toya. And one, Dabi is about 25 years old right now, 24, 25. So from that perspective, when he was actively training Dabi, that would have been like 15, 16 years ago. Yeah. Maybe more, actually closer to 20.
Yeah, we got that Keto was only there for 10, at least one of them.
And Keto's his oldest and most like handy stuff. Besides, but Burners is like right. Keto's like his right hand, you know what I'm saying? But Burners like his second in command, but like Keto's like his right hand.
So
nah, Keto's his boy. In the war, they bodied 4 normals together back to back.
Yeah, they like synchronized. Like they boys back to back tied because he the oldest nigga there, but like Burner's like the second in command.
So it's like you got this consistency of utilizing the situation and having these characters be around, but like if they've only been around for like a decade, they don't have a reason to be as invested.
My bad. I just remember we were talking about this the other day. Vernon is 25. She's like not even that much older than Dabi.
Yeah, so she wasn't. So none of them were actually around when Dabi would have been, or Toya would have been relevant. And as far as they would have known, like Toya would have died around the time they started there, which is when Endeavor was really sliding. Though I'd be willing to bet that his cases solved went up after that. And if you remember, one of the things that Dabi says to him is that you started an agency of fire users. So you
find me.
Right, which lets us know that for a good chunk of Endeavor's career, he was probably operating similar to how Mirko operates currently, where he was just running around whooping niggas' asses and going about his day.
Because you gotta think about how much hatred and fucking ambition the nigga had. Like I mean, the young Endeavor, you seen what he was trying to do. It was like, all right. Then you know, when Toya died, you know, he was like, all right, I'm gonna have to expand my reach.
Nah, he started wilding.
He was like, I'm gonna have to spend. Like he started doing crazy amount of shit. It's like when those rich people, they just start doing like crazy shit with their money, in the sense. Almost like I can describe, like it's almost similar to how Kanye lost his mind after his mom died.
Endeavor Kanye.
Yeah. I mean, kind of in the sense, like after his mom died, he lost his mind in a sense, and he just started really wilding the fuck out. It's kind of what Endeavor did in a sense.
Yo, did y'all read the last Vigilantes chapter?
I just did today. That shit was.
You see how like Endeavor pulled up with Vernon? He was like talking all that shit, like, "Oh yeah, I'm about to save the day," and then All Might pulled up. Listen.
Yeah, when you tweeted that panel, he was like, "I would have hated All Might too if I was."
I would have hated that too, man.
And that's the other thing too, is that lets us know that when we saw that was probably like within the first couple of years of Burning, or no, because that would have been like 2 to 3 years before MHA started. But
no, well, actually, this is the last year, because remember, Vigilantes was 6 years prior, and then basically it's in the last year of it.
From the beginning of it. So yeah, it was like 5 to 6 years before the start of the series, and we're within like a second year since the story started. So it's a little weird, but it's like Deku would have been in middle school when this was happening. That's the main point.
No. Vigilantes passed a couple of years by now.
It started 5 years back while Koichi was in college, which means that most were 4 years in. So it was 5 years before the series, MHA, the series proper starts, which the series proper starts while Deku was still in middle school. So if we're going 5 years before that, then it puts it, and we've gone 3 to 4 years now, then it's still 1 year before the actual start of MHA.
All right, that makes sense because Koichi said this was his last year as a crawler.
Yeah. So it's like 1 or 2 years before that, which is kind of funny to think that Koichi's the kind of person that All Might also would have wanted to give his quirk to, but they wouldn't have worked out. But is that Bonzo?
Yeah, I told you that I wouldn't stay long.
All right. I was getting close to winding it down because I might do a pop over on another stream. So let's get your thoughts real quick.
So the thing about it's more like this chapter I was happy to see the skills of Deku. To show how he can do it, with what he could do with what you said in the beginning of the stream. And also the second user more interesting because I'm asking myself if his quirk is tied to involving with team members. You know what I mean? It will be really fit well. It will fit well with the concept of one for all, one power for all for everybody. If his power is linked to his connection with people, and it will make his quirk the power one for one even more powerful. So we got this, and next to this we got also the fact that we read the other chapters. Last chapter too. Last chapter was I really think that Deku was. I think that Okoshi explained why Deku didn't give too much details attention to Himiko Toga, because we all thought that he would try to understand her, you know what I mean? But he really treat her like he brushed off Himiko Toga's situation because it wasn't her time, you know what I mean? And I'm really questioning myself for what is gonna happen to the girls too. How Ricochet is gonna treat that situation, because the Himiko Toga situation is we are talking about people with that represent the mental ill people in general. You know what I mean? And a hero, like she said, even him couldn't try to help her. You know what I mean? And it's kind of sad that she took that answer like this. And I really feel bad for her. But yeah, and for a moment, we can hope that our character, but Uraraka, might be at the end really the person that tried to help her. But yeah, right now I'm not sure where she's going. You know, I might even stop reading for a few weeks just to read it all in one go, just to have a bigger picture of the situation, because I don't know where he's going. I don't know how you feel, guys, about the situation right now, but I really don't know where Horikoshi is going with the story right now. I don't have genuine idea. We have Deku that who has to be Goku right now, flying to help the other ones fighting Shigaraki. And I remember the chapter with Shigaraki and being Shigaraki that talking about the next evolution and stuff. So yeah, I really don't know where he's going, because it feels like we missed a little part of the story to explain the whole situation right now. I don't know why. It's how I feel. But yeah, maybe we will get more information later. So yeah, that's anything that I wanted to say. But yeah, you know what to do. Like a stream, show some love to Aniki. Drop the hello always. And I'm out. Love y'all.
Pons was already dipping out, but I appreciate you coming by, buddy. All right. With that said, because this chapter was only like 14 pages, and we got 2 weeks. Which, by the way, y'all want to do JJK next week? What you want to One Piece? What you got?
I'd be down for JJK.
Hey man, listen. All I got to say is, Utah! Whoa!
Yuda!
All right.
Yeah,
So
JJK in One Piece, I'm good with that too, because One Piece's chapter was weird to me.
Yeah, so we can just kind of talk about Shonen Jump next week. So there you go. You get a Church of Manga stream next week.
I'll stick around for the One Piece discussion for the lows.
Hey, I'm telling you, you just time to start reading time.
They're just cloning around right now.
Oh,
Read the wiki and then just read nothing but one. Don't talk about any of the past.
to read wiki. Yo, they would eat me alive if I said that. Like, yeah, I just read the wiki, bro. I didn't read the manga.
Well, this chapter One Piece I was spoiled by the design so many times. I had no choice to be just spoiled, but I understand from where Oda just went back to his roots from the beginning of the story with this situation. But yeah, it's kind of I don't know how to feel because you know what I mean? Just again, you're like the special guy. You know what I mean? At the end.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Because it's like, I'm like, cool, this does have a lot of setup to it. Like,
yes,
it's fine. Because my personal stance is that we have at least 2 more gears that have to come out, or at least 1 more gear. Because when you look at certain stuff that happened in this chapter, but that's a whole other thing. So yeah, but yeah. And Hajime no Ippo, I'd have to read like 1,000 chapters. So that ain't happening in 1 week.
So we officially, from what we read from this chapter One Piece, we get God's fruits.
Which we already had that with the Buddha. So I'm like, at least.
But Buddha is still like a human that transcended humanity. You know what I mean? It's not like really seen as a god. But that's officially right now, we get God's fruits.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can say that for the One Piece stream. We need to talk about
Dabi.
Yeah. We need to talk about Dabi before this is over.
Let's hit up the Dabi points real quick and then wrap up so I can quick do some other stuff and then
I'm done.
Back.
Ciao.
All right.
I'm Bunzu.
Later, my boy.
All right.
Like the stream.
The dramatic flair with Dabi this chapter was peak. Like,
I forgot Dabi too.
From swinging on the All Might statue.
Bro, it's so crazy because that statue is the shit that ruined his life. Jesus, like.
Also, what the fuck did they make this out of? Because
I'm trying to figure that out too. I'm like, what metal? This nigga must have made that shit out of adamantium or some shit, nigga. They had the niggas from Wakanda come over this bitch and put vibranium into that statue.
Because so what I like about this though is that I fully expect Dabi to tell Shoto the story. Like, I don't expect there to be any punches pulled, and I expect this story to actually be something that makes Shoto mentally weaker.
I hope so too.
Because
he needs to get put through the ringer.
Because I have a very strong suspicion that it's the Himura's fault that Dabi was able to do stuff. Because otherwise, how would he get medical care? How would he survive? Any of that other stuff?
Oh, I never heard of that. You think it was the Himuras? His old family?
I think because if you think back when they were like, oh, the Himura used to be blah, blah, blah. And then they were, we used to be a great clan. And then Dabi, when he was a kid, was basically like, I know all about our family going broke, bitch. That's why you had to get that Endeavor money. That's why they sold you.
He was wild.
That nigga was out of pocket for that one. You're not wrong.
You
shouldn't say it.
I ain't never hear nobody say that. So if that's really the case, like that would be an interesting way to wrap the story, like
because
the whole thing together.
Because the thing is that they don't have to have like trained them specifically, but if you think about it, they had a large, even though they didn't have money, they still had land. So, and you can kind of tell when you look at it, like they still had land, so he still had space to train. He would have been able to figure out where they lived. They would have had money from like being with Endeavor to help him get the medical care, or they probably have better medical care in general as a society now, because it's really hard not to push for single payer healthcare in a society where heroes are around all the time. Because like if you don't have it, like think about that, like you can't push health insurance in this kind of society. You got to pay extra money. Like nigga, I could get blown up at any second. Quit playing with me. Like the premiums would just be too ridiculous. It just wouldn't work. So
Man. No, that nigga. That
Another
nigga,
channel stream, Anime Lately.
man, that nigga
Yo.
Dabi is so sick. Oh my god.
So yeah, like
The amount of games that come, too, like look at the height on that fire on page 9.
that's what makes it so dramatic too, because like you have a tornado of fire purposely isolating Shoto and the 3 sidekicks. And one of the things that I noticed, like when Dabi takes flight, but then there's this emphasis of fire under his feet that's even higher than what he used to take off. So he might be cooking the All Might statue actually.
But knowing Dabi, I wouldn't even be surprised if he was doing that shit.
Never.
So me and Tarnish gonna go ahead and take our W. Undeniably, that Dabi gives a damn about
Yeah, it's over. If he cares about the league or not, it's over. Because listen, he said that's me. Nah, that's us. That's all of us.
He went back for Toga. He talking about the league. Even the symbolism for Twice's death when he saw for Shoto's design, when Shoto pulled up on him with the shadow and even made him pause for a second. He gives a damn. It's non-negotiable now.
Well, that's the other thing that I kind of like about because if you look at the sketches, the sketch lines, it almost looks like Dabi was about to, like shedding a tear in his eye on the last page.
He can't. He would if he could.
Yeah, that's why like that line is so important, because it could just be like an unshaded eyelid, but it ends up looking like a tear that he's trying to have. And you said, I haven't been able to cry since my tear ducts are burnt. And you remember when they were like, have you even thought about the people you killed, blah, 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 snatching them? And then he was like, and then, he's like, all the time I think about the families hurt by heroes, which is part of how we should have, that was just like another clue towards him being Toya Todoroki. So you know how it goes. All right.
No old school Shoto slander is me being genuine, but I kind of don't like how Dabi went on that rant about how the league or society this, society that. He's like, why didn't you come home? Like, well, what? That's what you got out of everything he said. Why didn't you come back home? That's why Dabi answered the way he did. Like, that's what you want to know? I'll tell you, but
I do like the Phoenix Flame theory. I've seen it a couple times throughout the years. If he didn't need medical care because of that, I'm fine with it, because that would mean that what he's doing right now is just going to push him to his final form.
Hey man, listen.
But
I need y'all to drop that theory, because if that shit true, the amount of energy I'm coming with, along with Tarnish,
nigga, if Dabi, if he come back to life, bro.
Hey, bro, imagine if Horikoshi did not release his quirk title and then he burned, and it was like, that's a little weird. But then he rolls back up after that bitch, and it was like Phoenix. I was like, oh,
we're definitely getting his quirk box though. We have to get that now.
That shit's crazy. He really been holding on to that shit.
I mean, it would make sense though, just like, because I'm assuming it probably comes at some kind of cost.
Like, what for real is his quirk? You know what I'm saying? Like,
damn. Listen, this is not to get distracted by it. Listen, he's just getting Horikoshi getting us distracted. We still got a lot of shit in the background brewing and fucking cooking, man.
I'm surprised. Oh wait, Spinner, since you want to bring that up, Spinner, bro, he either on Trigger, got a new quirk, something.
I don't know what he doing, but now niggas going.
He's got a new quirk.
Niggas gonna want to get on his side now. I'm like, nah.
Remember when y'all was asleep?
No, I'm very much a proponent of him having a new quirk. Because of the whole extra drool thing. And if you remember, they talked about how some people will be left drooling messes and it lowers their intellect. But then you have people like Makia who are capable of dealing with the burden of extra quirks from jump. So to me, it kind of seems like heteromorphs are a bit less likely to be screwed by this. But that drool could also just be the viciousness coming through, because the lack of Spinner emphasis, wherever he is, it's about to be a problem.
It's about to be a problem wherever he's at right now.
It's like I said, they brought back his blade of blades.
Bro, and that nigga was wielding that shit before. That nigga probably, I don't even want to know. Well, I don't even want to know who get hit by that shit.
Yeah, he was low-key struggling to swing it when he was fighting Mandalay. Now he got the extra strength he needs.
Yup.
Woo,
So
this finna go crazy. No, I can't lie.
I can't believe, and this is just setting up. This is just the craziest part of me. All this is just still setting up.
all of these past chapters have been about setup and getting the fights to the right point. That's what's kind of funny is that we took this detour specifically so that Deku and Ochako and Toga could all be in the same spot narratively, so that we could have a reason to emphasize how much work they're putting in to defeat Shigaraki, so that when we get this time delay, we can see them trying to use the different shifting floors and all this other stuff, and then have that go away and slowly have more and more issues. And then as the UA shelter starts to have this ability question, maybe we get a shift in the focus from creating a barrier to getting as many people out as possible. So then you have to take the erasure off, but then you have to worry about X, Y, and Z. But if you get rid of the barrier and you start getting people out, then all of a sudden it just becomes an air battle. But then at that point, only like 2 or 3 people can still even sort of fight Shiggy. And that's kind of where the explosion and wave motion kind of come into play here, because that gives him the chance to at least blast off some of his limbs without having to feel bad, since he's going to be swinging huge ass hands. But like I said, I want to be able to wrap this up so that I can pop off and do some other stuff too. So Tarnish, final thoughts real quick.
Real quick, final thoughts. Y'all know me. When Dabi's in a chapter, it's automatic 10 out of 10. And we about to get his backstory. So I'm about to get even more Dabi content. I'm going to find out how he survived. Him versus Shoto. I need Shoto needs to go through it in this fight. If Endeavor is not going to be here, I need Shoto to suffer in some way, shape, or form. Like whether it's a new scar, some mental trauma, or something before this is over. But I have no doubt that's going to happen. And don't sleep on Spinner. But that's it.
Let's see. Is Ponzo still in the call, or did he?
No, he left alone.
Yeah, he left. Yeah, I just had to make sure. All right, East.
All right, let's take us home real quick. Listen, man, I'll make you short and sweet, simple to the point. Listen, all this is just keep setting up for the actual hands. So now we get into it. Everybody has got their mindset and their ways move. And I can't wait to see his peak. Honestly, this is something we've been waiting for the longest time, but we still ain't got the quirk, the backstory being fully answered now. So it's like Dabi has the longest backstory out of anybody in the series at this point, at the way we keep moving. Because he had he had the wrong way to put out a fire, and now he finna get his own shit too. So that's either ties 3 with Shiggy, or he goes further than Shiggy. You tie those 2 chapters plus what he finna get now. But regardless, the question shall be answered soon enough. I cannot fucking wait for this shit, man. Honestly, another fabulous chapter. Dabi goated, Spinner on fucking steroids and shit. Nigga, we just here, man. It's just a time to be alive. I'm great. I don't know why I felt Horikoshi really put Miracle and Bakugo out of all people on the thing, but hey, listen, horny is what horny does. You can't control it. You can't control it. But hey, man, listen, appreciate y'all for coming again this week. And appreciate y'all coming again this week, man. As per usual, love it, having a great time. I'm gonna keep it straightforward with you. I may not be on that Sunday stream next week because I may just be lazy. I'm not gonna hold you. But for real, appreciate y'all for coming, man. You already know what time it is. Another beautiful chapter, another fantastic Sunday. And as always, stay on the team, stay down. Do you know what I mean? Because I am who? I am what? We are undefeated of the East, baby. What it do? And that's another church episode. See y'all.
All right, y'all. Appreciate East, Ponzu, and Tarnish for coming through. Everybody that showed up in the chat, from Chumi to Nafisa to Abidrinu to Lamar Arrington, Tyler Hogg. Man, look, and I can't name all of you. You already know. I always appreciate y'all coming through. Mega Karibo, getting those regulars coming in. Always appreciated, especially those of you who have been here this whole time. Andrew with the super chat, Joseph Ciola, Alves is here, Cameron Bailey,
J. Michael.
Like, just the squad is here, and I appreciate y'all. Spectral,
LL Cool J, Marshall. Appreciate y'all, man.
LL Cool J is supposed to be here. But for real though, I appreciate everybody that comes through from the bottom of the heart, for real. I'm gonna try to get a review out for you guys before the end of the night's over, and we'll see what else I got, because I probably will do that One Piece discussion that I was asked for, and we'll see if I can get that out later this week, just because I kind of want to talk about One Piece as a whole lately. So that's what I'll do with that. So yeah, appreciate everybody that came through. And hold up, see, it's in minimize mode, so I can't even end the stream like I wanted to. But now, appreciate y'all that came through. It's Aniki, Church of MHA, Bishop's Tarnish.